When we look back at that game, it had its highs and lows on Whirlpool Presents, ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. Deep Das Gupta is here. Ian Bishop is here. We've seen so many games just twist and turn in ways that we can't possibly comprehend. So let's try and make sense of this one. Deep, where was this game finally decided? Was it that 19th over from Lockie Ferguson?
Yeah, I guess to a great extent, yes. I think the Varun Chakravarti over was brilliant. It pulled it back for KKR. I think a wicket and 2 runs in the 15th over that was backed by a good over from Sunil. And then, the 19th over, 20 runs with that no ball and a wide ball, costed them a bit.
It looked like when Lockie Ferguson actually bowled that 19th over, that the pressure was somewhat going off from KKR, that it was more towards CSK. Would you agree with Deep that by and large this game has changed in that 20-run over by Lockie?
Yeah, when you go into the last 2 overs and you sort of need 30 of the last 2, and then you have one of your international premier strike bowlers to bowl that penultimate over, which is the modus operandi, isn't it? You get what you perceive to be one of your best bowlers to bowl the penultimate over. Well, Lockie Ferguson has gone from a hero in the first game, not quite to 0, but that was a poor over to leave 10 only for Kamlesh Nagarkoti at the back end.
Yeah, let's ask the fast bowler now. When Morgan's pointed out that dew was a significant factor, the spinners seem to be the outstanding bowlers on the night, Bish. But if you look back at that Lockie over, can you somewhere afford him a little more benefit or a longer rope? Because dew was in play, there was a full toss on leg stump that went for 4. There was that waist-high full toss that yielded the free hit, which eventually cost a lot more. Can you sympathize with the fast bowler?
Of course I can. I can sympathize with the team that feels second. Dew was mentioned from very early in the piece, from almost the start of the game. There was talk about it. And in previous games as well, that dew was starting to become a factor in games, particularly in Dubai and to a lesser extent, maybe Sharjah. So I've been in that situation before myself as a player. It's not easy. Teams practice with a wet ball to try to compensate, but there's very little you can do apart from trying to dry the ball as much as possible. So it's tough, a tough lesson for Nagarkoti, still a tough lesson for Ferguson. I thought Chakrabarti's 15th over of the innings was the one that shifted things back towards KKR. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold on.
Yeah, it would have been a different conversation had KKR won. We'd have focused on that Varun Chakravarti over. But let's focus on the rights for Chennai Super Kings. Deep, and Ravindra Jadeja's cameo, 31-11. Maybe he got a little bit of help from Lockie Ferguson. But these are the kind of games you expect a player of Jadeja's experience who plays that role as a finisher to see off at the end of the line. That's a very good day with bat and ball for Ravindra Jadeja.
Absolutely yes, and we've been talking about this in the show as well about Ravindra Jadeja and his exploits with the bat in the last couple of years. I think we've been talking about how he should be promoted up the order and should be given a little more responsibility with the bat as well, because he's been doing really well with the bat. But I tell you what, 7 runs of the last 2 balls wasn't an easy thing. I mean, I'm sure he must be feeling the pressure then. 7 of 2, but yeah, I mean, kept his calm and actually, if you see that shot, he backed his strength. Didn't go for those airy-fairy shots. He stood there straight, still head, and just backed his strength.
Yeah, who is to say who? I mean, who knows who's going to be retained by Chennai as they look to revamp and transform Bish? You can't really say for sure that any player is safe and secure. Player like Jadeja just perhaps reinforcing his worth today when he takes these sorts of games over the line for his side.
He's played a number of nice little innings throughout the season. And just to encapsulate or to repeat what Deep is saying, he needed, I think, earlier in the season, I think it was mentioned a couple of times by different people, to face more balls. It's the same thing that on this show I've said about Dwayne Bravo and Jadeja. When guys are playing this well, you need to give them the opportunity to face more deliveries in a batting lineup that was floundering. So it's good that he showed his skill tonight. It really does set him up for the future.
All right. Another man that's set up for the future very nicely is Ruturaj Gaikwad. That was fun.
That was fun. That was, I don't know, felt so good watching him bat. Very orthodox cricket, straight bat, use the crease really well. So he wasn't looking to, play those T20 shots, but he was actually using the crease well, moved outside off stump, still played with a straight bat, outside leg stump, still played with the straight bat, was absolutely brilliant. You know what the other thing I was doing while he was batting was I was trying to see his dot balls. And he's actually played only 10 or 11 dot balls in that innings, and out of which I'm talking about Varun and Sunil Narayan, where a lot of batsmen struggled to rotate strike against them, right? He actually played together. He's played 6 dot balls against Varun and Sunil Narayan. I mean, that just tells you how comfortable he is. The other aspect of the game, like playing the spinners, playing the middle overs, rotating the strike. Yeah, he comes across as a really, really good talent. Listen, I've seen him in domestic cricket. But this is definitely a step up, and obviously when he's doing so well at this level, so obviously he's got the goods.
Season gone or not gone for Chennai, Bish, you'd think someone like Ruturaj Gaikwad has plenty to play for. And with the sort of start and the first few opportunities he got, he's now converted that into something big at the top of the order. And like Deep says, he looked comfortable against pace, against spin. He even looked the most seasoned pro in that partnership against Raidu.
All right, give me 45 seconds to see if I can chronicle the answer to this question here. First of all, I want to anoint Deep chief selector. He has seen every cricketer in the nation and he speaks the gospel whenever he talks about strengths and weaknesses. I want to commend him for that. If I were Ruturaj Gaikwad, I would do a Dinesh Ramdin from years back and hold up a sheet of paper and say, talk now. Because 2 games ago, remember Deep when they got in to the team when Chennai changed up everything and he failed, they were run over a little bit. I think it was Mumbai Indians. I can't remember who it was. People were saying, well, they're not ready. Why bring these kids in? Rah, 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 rah. Well, he's played 2 innings here and 2 shots stand out to me. There was a cover drive, an extra cover drive in the air over cover tonight. I can't remember who it was hit off of. And then he almost swept Lockie Ferguson for a 4 late in the innings. That showed me one, great courage. Deep talks about rotation of strike, but the guy is very straight lines, very orthodox, but he's looking as though at 23, he can play this T20 format very well.
Well, there is an aging CSK team, but who is to say that this new age of cricket led by the likes of Ruturaj Gaikwad won't feature in a significant capacity in time to come? So this could very well be a turn for CSK. And yes, don't rule out the Deep Das Gupta could very well be chief selector very soon, Bish. With the powers
He has my vote.
That dome the BCCI these days, you never know. Right. Let's get back to the game, shall we? That partnership with Ambati Raidu, again important. We've seen it before, Deep. Till Raidu's there, it looks like CSK are just, cantering away to victory. And then his wicket falls and all of a sudden things change. But for the extent that it was there, Raidu's partnership significant?
Very significant, and Raidu is a busy player, right? He's always doing something or the other. He'll try something out, suddenly he'll come out, and I mean that over from Cummins, I mean the over that he got out to as well. I mean he just took him on. So I mean you expect Raidu to do things like that. I mean that also brings his downfall more often than not. I've seen him for last 10-12 years. But he's a busy player. So as long as he's there, he'll keep the scoreboard moving. He'll keep doing something or the other. But he will also kind of at times, play some really uncharacteristic shot and get out as well.
Yeah, he was 4 or 5, Bish, and the little things we look back if a team doesn't end up on the right side. And the 10th over was given to Nitish Rana. Raidu with 3 fours, he gets on his way. You look back at that and you think of little things, decision making. Does Rana need to be given an over at that stage?
I don't know. It obviously didn't work out. I don't blame them for trying to squeeze one in somewhere, but these are the matchups of T20 cricket where if you can target a guy who is a part-timer, hey, fair call to Raidu and those guys. They did it very, very well. But the game did still come back into KKR's favor through that Chakravarti over. We can't forget that. And 30 of the last 2, you have to think that you're in the game even for the due if you are KKR.
All right. And let's look back at that first innings. Owen Morgan believes, Deep, that they had the runs. In hindsight, as you look back at it, looking at how big a role Dew ended up playing, and I guess you'd calculate that when you're batting first 2, did they err in just getting 10 or 15 short? Does that batting order call to send Rinku Singh now look a little more, can you be more critical of it now?
I mean, listen, we were critical of it back then as well. And irrespective, KKR went on to, win this game or not, we would still be, at least I would still be critical about it. Because end of the day, you want your best batsman out there as early as possible. Yes, you might have a few uh, you know uh, things that you don't want to do. I can understand if Morgan doesn't want to come out before a certain time, but yeah, at times you've just got to do it. I mean, the Rinku Singh episode you mentioned. I mean, listen, the halftime show we mentioned that it's a pass score. None of us said it was a winning total. It was a pass score, and yeah, we always knew that you will be a factor here.
With so much on the line, Bish, and what's your 13th game of the season? They're not out of it, they're still in it, but this does dent their chances. With so much on the line, keeping a guy in this first game and then sending him ahead of Owen Morgan, does that just not sit well at the end of it when you've lost?
Yeah, look, I still felt it was enough. That for me, if you're a contending team, you're a team before the start of the game tonight, you are in contention. You should be desperate and doing everything you need to do. Your best players doing the most work to try to win this game against a team who basically they can't qualify. They're
Yeah.
looking to rejig their lineup. And so it would be disappointing even with that score. And I still say in that last 5 overs, they had a chance to win the game. They could not close it out. So if I'm in KKR dugout, I'm saying that's on me, fellas. We really had our chance against the bottom ranked team and we messed up.
Thank you very much, Ian Bishop and Deep Das Gupta. You've got a long day's work tomorrow. So I enjoy that. And we'll see you again on our network very shortly on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout, powered by Dell.